Alright everyone, as always, I am Phalados, and I'm down here in the console. Uh, have a little bit to show you today that's not necessarily related to a dungeon crawl. It's kind of some of the ancillary features uh, around the game and around the dungeons, which is going to be kind of cool. The great news is the closed alpha will be starting tomorrow. Pretty much everything is ready to go. I just have a few tiny more things to work out. If you want to get in on the alpha, join Discord and send me a DM. Link is in the description below as always. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment and all of those things. So let's not waste any time, although this stream might be a little bit shorter than normal. The other point is, if you have not watched the patron-only live stream that I changed over to public, that one kind of shows the new level builder, and there's actually a timestamp in my comment there that shows when the level builder just completely went off script and baffled me, and there's some genuine live reaction to the AI going completely off script and dumbfounding the developer who created all of this. And it's an interesting experience, and I actually wrote a blog post about it that is up on Patreon for everyone in the public as well. It's kind of cool. The AI is very much doing what it wants at this point, and I'm just along for the ride, which is great fun. Right now I have a test character selected called Waterlight 2. It's got a little alert banner here saying that I have not set my appearance for Waterlight 2, so let's go ahead and do that. A whole bunch of options here. Pretty standard races: human, elf, dwarf, orc, half elf, and half orc. I have no idea what to do for Waterlight 2, so we will do a dwarf. We will say they are female for their visual gender and use she, her pronouns. Everything else you can let the AI choose, or you can actually pick. We will say that this dwarf is chubby. We will let the AI decide the eye color. The social status is, do you want them to look like a dirty, grungy peasant laborer or a rough and tumble adventurer, or do you want to have them look more like a noble and an aristocrat, or a well-off merchant? Or you could just let the AI choose. Hair color, we will go with black. Hair length, short. And we'll let the AI choose the hair color. Visual background, again, this kind of just sets the tone. You can, again, let the AI choose, but I find it more useful to select a backdrop. In this case, we'll go with an inn. We'll just assume that our dwarf is constantly drinking. We'll see if it wants to give the female dwarf a beard. And since Waterlight is holy, we will let them know holy. You notice it's saying I got 0 of 20 images. You are limited to 20 image generations. And again, this is going to be AI doing the generation here. Do you want me to have it set to makeup, Zuko? Do you want me to add makeup to our dwarf? And this did a really interesting job. It followed all of our directives, except for the beard on this one. So I will go ahead and add makeup and generate again. It does always generate 2 images at a time. If it happens to generate an image that's not safe for work, it will not display it or show it, just because don't want to get in trouble. That I could picture that as a dwarf, depending on how you view dwarf females. Or you could go with something that looks a little bit more like a dwarf. If you wanted to change them to a muscular dwarf, we can try that. And again, you just have a whole slew of options depending on what interests you. Uh, that one looks like a guy. That one also looks like a guy. One of the things the game is doing in the background here is it is supplying the armor type that you've picked for your character as well as the skill trees. So it knows if you're in plate armor or leather armor or cloth, and it knows if you're a wizard, a cleric, an assassin, a ranger, or a warrior. So it knows all of those things as part of this prompt that's being sent to the AI. I can go on full mascara, probably drop the beard, but it's probably going to do that anyway. It might have more luck with androgynous visual gender, just because. We will see. And hopefully this will continue to work for us. Yep, it is continuing to work, but not really getting anything I like with the beard. So let's drop the beard. And I did like the chubby better, because that seems to be a little bit more fitting of a dwarf. Or at least for what I'm picturing for Waterlight 2. There we go. I could see that being Waterlight 2. And when you want to set that as your character image, just say use this image, and you'll notice that that is now your character image. And if we go back to the tavern and actually enter the Dungeon of Despair, character pronouns are now remembered from your description. And if we enter, which we will in a second, you'll notice that it's actually going to be using your character image everywhere in the game now. But before we get there, there's two new things here, obviously. There's collectibles in Bestiary. This character has done nothing in the dungeon yet, so these are empty. But if I go back to character that has spent some time in the dungeon, you'll notice that Xanthia, who I've already set the appearance for, does not have the little alert banner showing up. So in this case, Xanthia has some collectibles. She's collected 3 of the 10 books for the Golem construction manual. You're also free to read the books here. I'm not going to read those on stream. It's showing you exactly how many books are unknown. It also tells you the rewards for once you've collected all of them. Every collection has a coin reward and something else. In this case, if I collect all of these, I'll be able to craft a Golem companion, which will help me in the dungeons once I get that feature coded in. I've actually collected all of Mir's Tale, and actually already collected the 50 coin reward there. And this one actually rewards a secret fortress, so it actually unlocks a dungeon for you. Again, I haven't coded in that dungeon yet, or had the AI code that dungeon yet, so can't actually use this reward yet, but it will be available. And that just goes to show you, hey, doing these dungeons lets you collect things, and progress is kept, and just a little incentive to do these dungeons, which is fun. The other one is the Bestiary. It's keeping track of absolutely everything you've killed. And you can click on any one of these, and right now I haven't killed enough of these to know additional information. But as you kill more, you'll learn more and more about the creature or the person or the group of people. At least once I get all of that lore codified as well. One of the cool things is this does let you see the character avatar nice and full and up close, whereas in the game you kind of can't see that. Just to go back and show you some more, we will do some image generation for Glane, who I've also already set the appearance for, but we'll go ahead and go over it. So he's a human male, goes by he, him. Tan skin color, muscular, letting the AI choose the color, letting AI choose the social status. He has brown short hair. That's the AI choice for the hairstyle itself, and he's in a cathedral. He's also got a beard, some facial scars, and he's also holy. One of the things about Glane is he is in plate mail, and we'll see that being reflected in the images that are generated. And you can see it actually did a pretty good job on this. If you want to see like the difference, if I remove facial scars and set him to be a aristocrat, it should make him look more like a high noble versus just a generic character. We'll see if it actually comes through. And despite the fact that that wasn't zoom in, I think that did a pretty good job. Although it also did one that was not safe for work, which is always fun. And this is probably a better one. So you can see he's got a more regal look to him. If we change this to adventurer, it should drastically change his, not necessarily drastically change his appearance, but have an impact on the appearance. So you can see aristocrat, adventurer. So a little more rough and tumble, a little bit more rugged, slightly more stern look on his face. So it works. It does a pretty good job. And the options are pretty endless. If I want to make him thin, I can also do that. And we can see what it does. So it's now trimmed him down a little bit. Although he still looks pretty bulky, but if you're wearing plate armor, I imagine that's gonna be a thing. So lots of options for people to play with. We can also do Xanthia while we're here, who is always fun. So Xanthia should be an elf, female. She, her pronouns: tan skin, toned body, green eyes. Peasant, just to kind of give her a rough and tumble feel. Red hair that's long in a ponytail, and we'll go with the visual backdrop of town, and that will be it for Xanthia. We'll see how it does. So it did not do a terrible job on either of those. Let's go for a couple more. I imagine that people are going to be spending a little bit of time in the image generation for their characters. That's a pretty good Xanthia right there, so we will go with that one. And again, it shows up there, which means it's all working. And I don't think I picked one for Glane. I did not. Which one do I like the most? Probably this one. So we will use that one for Glane. And we will go into the dungeon. You'll notice that he, him is already auto set. And we will go into the Cultus of Mere Sacrifice just to show that it is now part of the game, which is great fun. And really that is kind of all I have to show, unless you guys want to see another walkthrough of yet another dungeon with the new level builder. But I think there's probably limited value in that, just because we've done that plenty of times at this point. Or at least I think we've done it plenty of times. So you'll notice that Glane is now the character that's showing up instead of good old Xanthia. As Glane approached the Cultus Emir dungeon, he could feel the weight of his responsibility resting heavily upon his shoulders. Queen Natalia had entrusted him with the task of rescuing Princess Amelia, who had been taken captive by the cultists for their for their rituals. The ominous mountains loomed ahead, casting eerie shadows in the fading light of the day. The atmosphere was thick with an aura of foreboding, and Glane could not help but feel a sense of trepidation coursing through his veins. As he drew closer to the dungeon, Glane could make out his formidable silhouette, carved deep into the granite cliffs of the Dragonspine Mountains. The entrance was pitch black, a gaping maw leading deep into the underground layer of the cold. Glane knew that he must be cautious as he ventured into the place alone. It was a perilous undertaking, but he could not afford to hesitate, for Princess Amelia's life was at stake. Taking a deep breath, Glane steeled himself and began making his way towards the entrance of the dungeon, his warhammer at the ready, and his mind focused on the task at hand. With each step, he could feel his resolve growing stronger, for he knew that failure was not an option. So obviously it's given me something to solve. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions on the essentially more public alpha, since you don't have to be a patron anymore to get the alpha, or questions about the game in general, feel free to ask in chat, and I will do my best to answer. Glane stood before the ancient stone doors, his eyes locked on the spirits that circled around it. The spirits howled and whirled, their spectral forms leaving trails of shimmering light in the air. Silence enveloped the room, broken only by the haunting cries of the spirits. Glane's grip tightened on his warhammer as he watched them, sensing the danger that lay beyond the door. He could feel a malevolent energy emanating from the spirits, and he knew that he must tread carefully. For a few moments, Glane simply stood there, taking in the sight before him. He felt as though he was watching a dance of death, a prelude to what lay beyond the door. As he stood there, the spirits continued their ghostly dance, never wavering in their vigil. Interesting. Dun, 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 dun. Wow, chat's quiet tonight. It's just Zuko, it appears. Glane approached the shallow grave with the wooden cross and kneels beside it. His eyes focus on the name Glane, deeply inscribed in the wood. The surrounding air goes colder as he feels a chill run down his spine. He can't quite shake the feeling that there's something off about this grave, as if it is part of a larger plan. Glane's training as an earth wizard has taught him to trust his instincts, and he knows that there's more to this grave than meets the eye. As he stands up and takes a step back, he notices that the white lilies nearby seem to wither and die before his very eyes. The hint is clear. Something is amiss in this seemingly peaceful resting place. Let's go ahead and interact. Zuko knows how this goes. Very much knows how this goes. Or at least she should. Glane reaches out and lightly touches the wooden cross marking the shallow grave. As his finger brushes against the wood, the air around it grows colder still, and the low, haunting moan echoes through the silence. Suddenly, a dark and sinister presence is summoned before him, shaped like a wraith with hollow eyes and twisted features. Glane stands frozen as the creature approaches him, feeling an unnatural coldness emanating from its form. The ray seems to be drawn towards him, reaching out with spectral fingers, as if seeking to draw him into the grave. Glane knows that he must be cautious. This is a dangerous place, and the dark magic can easily overpower the unprepared. He draws his warhammer and summons his power of light to repel the creature, forcing it to retreat back into the shadows. So, good old Glane. And the wraith is actually beating me. But this is why we have potions. and why the test level is all about giving potions. You'll go ahead and examine this grave. Rays are scary. They are quite strong. But that's okay. 'Cause Glane is a beacon of light, and he will do just fine. Glane walks towards the old gravestone, feeling a chill run down his spine. He reads the inscription carved into the stone, which reads, "Here lies Glane, a brave but foolish adventurer." The name strikes a chord with him, and he wonders if it's just a coincidence or if there's more to it. He looks around the graveyard and notices there's something different about this gravestone compared to the others. It's not just the inscription, but the way it's positioned. It seems to be pointing towards something. Glane follows its directions and sees a faint glimmer in the distance. Could it be that it's just part of a sequence that leads him deeper into the dungeon? He makes a mental note to keep an eye out for more clues as he continues his journey in the Cultists of Mir's dungeon. And in this case, we need to examine the flower bed. And why are you traumatized by the race? I know that when you first started playing, everything was tuned to people being like level 20 or so, and you were like level 2, and they were kind of kicking your butt. Glane approached the bed of lilies, his eyes fixated on the delicate petals. He had seen many flowers on his travel, but these seemed to be holding a special kind of beauty. The soft white petals were almost translucent in the dim light of the evening, and their sweet fragrance filled the air. Glane felt a strange sense of peace wash over him as he gazed upon them, and for a moment he forgot about the dangers that lay ahead in the dungeon. He wondered who had planted them here and for what purpose. Were they meant to be a warning, a symbol of hope, or simply a way to bring a touch of beauty to this dark and foreboding place? Whatever their meaning, Glane was grateful for the moment of respite they offered him, and he took a deep breath before turning back towards the door. Let's go ahead and drink a pot, and we will interact with the lilies. Because why not? Why not? As far as the new level builder goes, which was kind of the big work probably for the past 3 weeks or so, or past couple of weeks before this week, which was all about collectibles and the images, it is doing some mind-boggling, crazy stuff that is making me scratch my head and like, how did you learn that? I don't want to give too much away just so people can play the game and enjoy it, but it's doing some crazy stuff. And right now I would say puzzles are probably a little bit too hard to solve, and a lot of that is because the role play game mechanics are not in yet, so your character skills and awareness and ability to pick locks or subvert magical devices is not present yet. So essentially all the puzzles you have to solve like they're missed and actually find the actual correct solution to the puzzle versus being able to use your skills as an adventurer to possibly circumvent the mechanics of the puzzles. Anyway, back to the game. Glane moves slowly towards the bed of lilies, his eyes fixated on the delicate petals. He reached out and carefully plucked a handful of the flowers, taking care not to damage them. He held them in his hand. He felt a sense of calm wash over him. The sweet fragrance of the lilies filled his nostrils, and for a moment he forgot about the dangers that lurked within the dungeon. He wondered if he should take more with him, but decided against it in case it slowed him down. As he turned to make his way towards the door, he couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness at leaving the beautiful flowers behind in such a dark and foreboding place. But he knew that he had a job to do, and that he had to press on if he was to rescue the princess and complete his mission. Okay, so we have some lilies now. Now we will interact with the door, because I can. So for all the non-patrons that are watching, are you guys eager and excited to get to playing the dungeons, or just confused and wondering how much more polish is to be done to make the dungeons actually playable? Glane approached the ancient stone door with caution, his hands hovering over its rough surface. As he reached out to touch it, the spirits circling around it suddenly surged forward, surrounding him in a whirlpool of spectral energy. They howled and shrieked, their ghostly forms leaving trails of shimmering light in the air as they circled around him. Glane felt a chill run down his spine as he realized that the spirits were now focused on him. He closed his eyes and focused his energy, trying to calm the spirits and gain their trust. Slowly he reached out and touched the stone door, feeling the rough surface beneath his fingertips. As he did, the spirits began to calm. Their howls faded into soft whispers. They continued to circle around Glane for a while, their presence a reminder of the dangers that lay beyond the door. But for now, Glane was safe in their company. So I've got spirits circling around me, which is always fun. But now we have a new option to make an offering at the gravestones. I don't know the order because it did not hint at it, so we will just go to this one since it's closer. Do. So how are you doing tonight, Zuko, since it just seems to be you and I here right now? Glane bowed his head, offering a solemn prayer over the shallow grave, his voice echoing through the stillness. As he speaks, he feels a presence circling around him. He knows that he must stay focused and alert. Suddenly, a howling spirit appears before him, its eyes glowing with malice as it circles around him. But Glane remains steadfast, and his faith in the power of the light is unshakable. He continues to pray, calling upon the divine energy within him to drive away the darkened soul. Slowly, the spirit begins to lose its strength, and it lets out a final, mournful howl before disappearing back into the door from which it came. Glane opens his eyes and takes a deep breath, grateful for the protection of the light, knowing that he must stay vigilant as he presses deeper into the cultists of Mir's dungeon. Well, all the new reveals have already happened. All the rest of this is just another run through of a dungeon. Because why not? Though there's more people than you watching, they're just not speaking up in chat. Glane falls to his knees in front of the gravestone, offering a solemn prayer to the fallen adventurer. As he finishes, he feels a sudden cool breeze on his face and looks up to see one final spirit departing from the grave and heading towards the west wall. A sense of unease washes over him as he stands up, feeling the weight of his armor and weapons. He frowns, wondering what kind of horrors await him beyond the ancient stone door that looms menacingly in front of him. With a deep breath, he reaches for the door handle, feeling a shiver run down his spine as he grips it tightly. As the door creaks open with the sound of an otherworldly, deathly hallow, he braces himself for what lies ahead. Thousands of spirits are suddenly freed, and Glane is momentarily blinded by their light. He takes a step forward and disappears into the darkness beyond. So that door has now been opened, and we can start our adventure. Ooh, we get to talk right off the bat. So again, here you'll notice that as I respond, you'll see that Glane's icon avatar is the one that's being used. The snake goddess you'll see. Her whispers guide me. What business here, you think? I'm here for the princess. Where is she? Princess, princess, lost and found. She's not here, not in this ground. Are you saying the princess is in another castle? Just a little bit of humor. Kudos if you guys get the reference. Another castle, another place. Her location I cannot trace. Are you going to speak in rhyme all day? Rhyme or not, I cannot stop. Mirror's whispers never end or flop. Oh, the crazed cultist can be so hilarious sometimes. Mirror's whispers? Do you hear her right now? Mirror whispers always there. Her voice, it whispers in my ear. But why do you care? You're not one of us, not in our snare. And now he wants to fight. So fight we shall. And Glain is very, very weak. So I don't think he's found too much loot. And we've got 4 things of interest. And a portcullis, which I don't know if people have seen yet or not. And an open door. I don't know what to do. Although I can always cheat, which makes the thing no fun. Maybe I should just start offering VQ coins for people that speak up in chat. Get the lurkers engaged. Glane's eyes are fixed on the large oak lever as he ponders its purpose. It's intricately carved with symbols that he doesn't recognize, but he can sense the power emanating from it. As he stares at the lever, a faint whisper echoes through the chamber. It's a voice he doesn't recognize, but its words are unmistakable. The second lies ahead. Glane furrows his brow, wondering what the voice could mean. He takes a step closer to the lever, and a chill runs down his spine as he feels a cold breeze rush by him. He realizes that this lever must be the second item in his sequence. But what could the first item be? Glane's mind races as he considers all the possibilities, but one thing is certain: he must find the first item before he can continue with his quest to rescue the princess. So that is item 2, fairly obviously. Wow. So 100 VQ coins to the next person other than Zuko that messages in chat. We'll see if anyone respawns, or if people just want to continue to lurk. As Glane approaches the giant stone obelisk, he can feel a faint hum of energy emanating from it. The surface of the obelisk is etched with intricate symbols and runes that seem to shift and writhe as he gazes upon them. Glane can sense that there is something powerful about this obelisk, something that he cannot quite put his finger on. There's a magical energy emanating from the obelisk that seems to be calling out to him, drawing him closer. As Glane studies the obelisk, he notices that there is a small indentation on its surface, just large enough for an object to fit into. It's possible that this object is just one part of a larger puzzle. The symbols etched in the surface could be a clue to the locations of the missing piece. Whatever secrets this obelisk contains, Glane knows that he'll have to unravel them if he hopes to rescue the princess and escape. If you're just now joining, Kevin, you missed the collectibles and the image generation. So if you notice, the character here that used to always be Xanthia is now an AI generated image based on your inputs, so you can create a character that's customized to you. The other one is dungeon collectibles, so the books that you collect are now being kept track of. Your victories and defeats in dungeons are being kept track of, and your kills are being kept track of. So lots of ancillary game features, because we all like to collect things, I think. Or at least I hope so. And because you were the first person to step up and say something, you get 100 VQ coins to your account. Glaine's gaze fixated on the unlit steel brazier, its cold and empty interior, a stark contrast to the dimly lit room. As he studies it, a glint caught his eye. Upon closer inspection, he notices a striking stick attached to the chain, hanging from the brazier. Its presence seemed out of place, almost intentional. Glaine's instincts told him that it was not just an ordinary brazier, but an important piece of a larger puzzle. Perhaps it was linked to the heavy locked steel portcullis on the south wall, or the ancient stone door with spirits circling around it on the east wall. As he continued to ponder its significance, Glane couldn't shake the feeling that he just uncovered the first clue in a cryptic sequence of events. So that one's also a 1. So we know 1. We know 1-1 and 1-2. As Glane reaches out to touch one of the unlit steel braziers, why did I interact? I needed to examine. Oh boy, good times. Also, for the people that are wondering, this is just in a web browser. Just in case you guys were curious. This is just a completely browser-based game. I know there's been a lot of thought, or a lot of people wondering if this is a PC game or what. Right now it is purely just a web-based game. Eventually I will switch over to Unreal Engine and make it a real-time dungeon crawler or MMO, depending on how far I want to go. But it'll start out as a dungeon crawler. Glane takes a moment to study the unlit steel brazier, gazing at it with a focused intensity. As he looks closely, he notices a thin chain hanging from the side of the brazier. Upon closer inspection, he sees that the chain is connected to a striking stick, which dangles just above the brazier's edge. The striking stick seems to be made of some kind of flammable material, and Glane realizes that it could be used to ignite the brazier. As he looks at the striking stick, Glane has a sudden realization. This brazier must be the second piece of a sequence that he needs to activate in order to progress further into the dungeon. He remembers seeing a similar brazier in another room. Alright, so I'm going to guess the 2 braziers are lit. And that one's first and the other one is second. We will see. We will see. And for people that are watching right now, if you have not subscribed and turned on notifications, go ahead and do that. I do the public streams every other week, and then the private patron streams every other week. Between those, the patron only streams do get made public a few days after they've done that. Few days after they were recorded live. With a steady hand, Glane struck the striking stick against the steel brazier, igniting a flame that quickly grew in size and intensity. The previous silent room was now filled with the roaring sound of the brazier's flames. As the heat emanated from the brazier became more intense, Glane watched in awe as the flames seemed to take on a life of their own. Suddenly they lit up from the brazier and began to crawl up the wall, illuminating symbols etched into the stone that had previously been hidden in darkness. The markings seemed to glow with an otherworldly energy as the flame danced around them, casting eerie shadows throughout the room. As Glane watched in wonder, he knew that this was only the beginning of a journey that would take him deeper into the dungeon. So I'm going to guess that igniting this one's going to be a secret door. We will see. We will see. Maybe I should just start giving VQ coins out like crazy. Get more engagement. Taking hold of the striking stick hanging from the unlit steel brazier, Glane lights it with a quick, practical motion. As the flames catch, it roars to life, illuminating the room with a bright orange glow. Glane steps back as the flame jumps from the brazier to the wall behind it, igniting the wood paneling and casting a flickering light across the room. As he watches, a low rumble can be heard, and Glane realizes that a secret door has revealed itself on the west wall. He moves towards it, drawn by a sense of curiosity and adventure. The door slowly swings open as he approaches, revealing a dark passageway beyond. Glane hesitates for a moment, considering his next move. He knows that this could be a trap or a dead end, but he also knows that he must press on if he is to rescue the princess and complete his quest. Okay. For the people that have just joined recently, the closed alpha is going to be available to everyone starting probably tomorrow around 3 o'clock Pacific time. If you are not in on the closed alpha, all you really have to do is join the Discord. Link in the description below. And send me, Falados, direct message, and I'll get you an alpha key. Reason for that is just much easier to talk on Discord, report bugs, hear feedback, all that fun stuff. But this will be available to essentially everyone starting tomorrow. Guess I should read this. Glane took a deep breath as he reaches out to pull the large oak lever. His fingers wrap around the smooth handle, and he braces himself for resistance. But as he begins to pull, the lever moves easily, almost too easily. He's surprised by how little effort it takes to move the lever, but he doesn't have time to dwell on it. Suddenly, there is a grinding noise coming from the south wall. Glane turns to see that the lock-heavy steel portcullis slowly rising up into the ceiling. The sound of metal scraping against stone echoes through the chamber, and the portcullis continues to rise. Glane steps back, readying his warhammer. Okay, AI, you're making stuff up. It didn't open. But that's okay. AI likes to make things up sometimes. And I wonder where Sneaker is. He's normally here, but he might have been playing the game a little bit too much and passed out. He's been playing a lot, so he's been enjoying the new level builder quite a bit, I think. As Glane reaches out to touch the stone obelisk, he can feel a surge of dark energy coursing through his body. The ruins etched into the obelisk begin to glow in eerie red light, and he can hear the whispers in his mind that they cannot quite be made out. Suddenly, there's a violent eruption of energy from the obelisk, and Glane is thrown back with a cry of pain. Oh, I did those backwards, didn't I? Yep. Obelisk first, and then lever. Ah, Sneaker is here. Just being quiet. If you'd be so kind, Sneaker, do you mind telling people how you've been enjoying or not enjoying the new level builder and your runs through the dungeon, other than me having to fix all of your save files, which has been fun. The focus for this next upcoming week is going to be purely about bug fixes and nailing down some of the little tiny problems that have crept into the game. As Glane reaches out to touch the giant stone obelisk, his hand is enveloped in a warm, pulsing energy. The magical hum coming from the obelisk grows stronger, and as his hand makes contact with the surface, a sudden beam of green light shoots out from the top of the obelisk, illuminating the room and striking the heavy steel portcullis on the south wall. Glane watches in amazement as the beam of light lingers for a moment before fading away. Despite the display of magic, the portcullis remains stubbornly locked. Glane realizes that this obelisk must be part of a larger puzzle. And now I think if I pull this lever, it will open. But yeah, I'm actually really happy with the new level builder, even though it's driving me a little crazy because I can't understand how it's doing some of the things it's doing, and the combative nature between the level builder and the verifier is also making things even more interesting. With a firm grip, Glane pulls on the large oak lever with ease. As he does so, a loud clanking of metal can be heard echoing through the chamber. Glane's heart races with anticipation as he watches the portcullis on the south walls slowly begin to rise. The sound of rusted chains and creaking metal fill the air as the portcullis continues to rise. With each passing moment, the opening becomes wider and wider until there is enough space for Glane to pass through. As the portcullis finally reaches its full height, the sense of accomplishment washes over him. Yes, yes. Okay, now we have opened all the doors. We will go through the one that was locked. Oof. Oof. Shadowhounds. Why, Shadowhounds? Why are you here? Wow, that's not doing any damage, really. Or at least wasn't doing damage to the one that was almost dead. Whew. Yay, I leveled. Ooh, we've got a mirror, too. I'm not sure we... I'm not sure it's been shown on a stream yet of the new possibility for portals of them not being linked anywhere in the dungeon. Or at least not linked. Glane stood before the unlit steel brazier, its close, cold surface reflecting the dim light of his torch. The room was silent except for the occasional drip of water from somewhere in the dungeon. As he gazed at the brazier, he noticed something hanging from it, a striking stick attached to the chain. It seemed out of place, almost as if it had been left there deliberately. Glane's instinct told him that it was not just a random item, but part of something greater. He couldn't put his finger on it, but there was a sense of purpose behind it all. As he stood there, lost in thought, he couldn't help but wonder what other secrets lay hidden in the cultists of Mir's dungeon. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and ignite it. Because what's the worst that could happen? Other than I've got spirits attracted to me right now. That opened a secret door right away. Glane took the striking stick in hand and approached the unlit steel brazier. With a steady hand, he struck the stick against the brazier's sides, creating a shower of sparks that ignited the kindling within. The flames leapt to life, casting flickering shadows on the walls and ceiling. As the fire grew, Glane noticed something strange happening. The flames seemed to be reaching out towards the north wall, almost as if they were alive. Suddenly, there was a low rumble that seemed to come from deep within the dungeon, and a previously hidden secret door revealed itself in the wall. I need to add little music that plays when you unlock something. Do I examine? Or do I just open the chest? But yeah, I'm eager to see what happens when people get to the second and third level of the Grydosh mines. Glane's eye is fixated on the sturdy wooden chest, its surface marred with scratches and dents. The metal hinges creaked lightly as he approached it, and he couldn't help but wonder what treasures contained within. He stared at it for several moments, his mind racing with possibilities of what he might find inside, his hand twitching slightly, itching to reach out and open it, but he hesitated. This was a cursed dungeon, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about this chest. He studied his surface more closely, searching for any signs of traps or ruins that might be hidden on it. But the chest appeared to be just a chest, innocuous and harmless. Still, Glane, I'm going to go ahead and just open it. One of the things I am going to be working on is further improvements to the AI. I've got a new set of changes to the prompts that will shorten these descriptions and actually make them more concise, but also going to integrate that with the RPG change, where your character will essentially be rolling against passive stats to see if they gain additional information or if they can unlock special triggers that can possibly make you solve the puzzle without solving the puzzles. Glane finally gave up to the temptation and approached the sturdy wooden chest. He carefully lifted the lid, half expecting it to be booby-trapped. But as he opened it, he was relieved to find out that it was safe inside. He found a meager haul of loot, 5 silver coins and a handful of bronze coins. It was not much, but Glane knew how important every coin was in a dungeon like this. He quickly pocketed the money and closed the chest, satisfied that he had found and nothing in my inventory, so no key. I'm going to leave the mirror, but make a note in my map that there's a mirror here. Love the auto map. Love the auto map. Oof. Archers. Archers everywhere. Oh, there's a mirror here, too. There's a mirror and a mirror. Oh. Good times. And I'm just going to smite them all. And I should remember that I've got self-healing if I need it. This is a scary image? Whatever do you mean? I do need to show off one other feature, though. There's also a mirror here. Next time I'm in combat, I will show off that feature, which I'm sure will be soon. Yep. Bookshelf. So when you're playing the game, you can actually just click on the enemies when the enemy selection over here, and it'll bring up the bestiary on that enemy. So you can see the artwork in its full glory instead of tiny, if you so desire. But we've got a book. Get away from me. Oof. Why are shadowhounds so hard? Drink a potion. Okay, victory. We'll see if I get a book. But other than that, there's not too much to show other than like this is just a fairly standard dungeon run. As Glane perused the simple wooden bookshelf, his eyes caught sight of a book with a particularly interesting title, Argoth, Light's Hope. He reached for it and opened the cover, scanning through the pages. As he read the mythos of Argoth, he couldn't help but feel drawn into the story of being born from the love between a goddess and a human king. Argoth's journey from guiding souls to becoming a symbol of hope and kindness was inspiring to Glane, and he couldn't wait to learn more about this deity. He carefully placed the book in his pack, knowing that it would serve as a source of guidance and inspiration on his quest to rescue the princess. Did I mark the... Yeah, I didn't mark that there was a mirror there. Hey, we've got a statue and a gravestone, an obelisk, and a lever. Whew. Get a heal up. Yay, victory is mine. We will go ahead and examine the statue. Pretty calm stream tonight. Nothing too crazy going on. Glane slowly approached the statue of Argoth as a humble and kind priest, admiring the intricate details carved in the stone. As he drew closer, he noticed that Argoth's hands are folded in prayer, and there is a symbol etched into them. It's not one he recognizes, but it seems to radiate a faint light, as if imbued with some kind of magic. Suddenly, Glane has a feeling of deja vu, as though he's seen this symbol before. It nags him, tickling at the back of his mind, like a half-remembered dream. He can't shake the feeling that it's important somehow, and it might hold the key to his mission here in the dungeon. As he continues to study the statue, Glane becomes aware of a faint chanting in the distance, echoing through the dark stone chambers. It sends a shiver down his spine, and he realizes that he must press on. Time is running out to rescue the princess and escape this cursed place, but he can't help feeling that this symbol is a clue, and he can't afford to ignore. Interesting. And we've got a gravestone. But yeah, one of these days, people are gonna do Grydosh level 2 and encounter a whole slew of new fun things. Glaine stood before the gravestone, reading the inscription over and over again. Here lies Glaine, a lost soul. It reads. He can feel his heart pounding in his chest as he tries to come to terms with the fact that his own name is written on this grave. The weight of his own mortality suddenly feels heavy upon him. He has always known that adventuring was dangerous, but he had never truly considered the possibilities of his own death. He closed his eyes and takes a deep breath, trying to push thoughts from his mind. As he opens them again, he notices a small flower growing beside the gravestone, its delicate petals reaching out towards the dim light of the dungeon. Perhaps there is still hope for him yet. Let's go get a wraith. How about that? Will I get a wraith? Nope, Shadowhound. As Glaine reaches out to touch the stone gravestone, his fingertips brush against the engraved letters. Suddenly, a howling spirit jumps from the grave, its ghostly form writhing and twisting in the air. Glaine stumbles back, his heart pounding into his chest as he watches in horror. The spirit's unearthly cries echo through the dungeon, summoning a Shadowhound from the darkness. The creature leaps towards Glaine, its eyes glowing with the malevolent light. As the shock wore off, Glaine draws his warm hammer and takes a step back, ready for the beast. Yay. Whoop, not that one. I just push the same attack over and over again and hope I don't lose. This is going to be the same portcullis as before. Just have to get the order right. But, I mean, if things are going to be this calm, we can always just end the stream early. But you never know. As Glaine approaches the large oak lever, he notices the intricate carvings etched into the surface. The intricate design depicts a serpent coiled around the staff, the symbol of Mir. As he looks closer, he sees that the staff is broken into two, and the serpent's eyes seem to glare at him with malice. Glaine's instincts warn him that this lever is not meant to be pulled alone. He feels a strange energy emanating from the lever and senses that it's connected to something else in the dungeon. Perhaps it is one of the items he has already encountered or something he has yet to discover. Regardless, Glaine knows that this lever is not an ordinary mechanism. He must proceed with caution and consider his next move carefully. Let's just try the obelisk lever again and see if it opens the portcullis. We will see. At least OpenAI has been pretty stable and consistent. As Glaine lays his hands upon this giant stone obelisk, a strange sensation runs through his body. Suddenly, the entire structure begins to vibrate, and a beam of green light emits from the top of the obelisk. The light shoots towards the locked, heavy steel portcullis on the north wall, but it does not budge. The light lingers for several seconds before fading away, leaving Glaine standing in the dim light of the dungeon once again. As he looks around, he notices that the dead Shadowhounds that he had defeated earlier seem to have been reanimated by some unknown force. They now stand motionless, staring at Glaine with glowing red eyes. Though he cannot explain it, he feels as if the obelisk's power has somehow caused this eerie phenomenon. With a shiver running down his spine, Glaine quickly turns away and moves towards the unlocked archway on the south wall, eager. Yeah. The AI likes to elaborate a little bit too much still. Gonna try to fix that and narrow the AI or make the AI's responses just a little bit better, a little bit more concise, a little bit more like a DM explaining what's going on versus what it's doing right now. Glaine takes a deep breath and firmly grasps the large oak lever. With a swift pull, the lever moves easily, and a loud clanking of metal can be heard throughout the room. Glaine looks towards the north wall and sees that the porthole is slowly rising, revealing a dark corridor beyond. The sound of the grinding metal echoes to the chamber as the portcullis opens fully. As Glaine steps forward, he feels a chill run down his spine as the unsettling sense that he is being watched. He quickly shakes off the feeling and moves towards the corridor, his warhammer in hand, ready for whatever lies ahead. Yay, we can now go through. And it's just another bookshelf. See if we get a book. Or a different book. We will see. Or I can just cheat. Nope, same book. Same book. Argos Lights Hope. Zuko likes books. Glaine approached the simple wooden bookshelf and began to peruse the titles. Most of the books were dusty and nondescript, but one caught his eye. The cover was adorned with an intricate golden pattern. The title read, Argoth Lights Hope. Yes, now I have 2 of them. And there is a chest hiding back here. We will just open it. Hey! Good times. Good times. Good old proud Glaine. What is going to happen with the chest? And as I just praised OpenAI, it is now responding slowly. Maybe I should just be quiet. As Glaine approached the sturdy wooden chest, he noticed that it is slightly larger than the other chests he had seen in this dungeon. He begins to slowly open the chest, cautiously checking for any traps or hidden compartments. As he opens the lids, he hears a faint creaking and groaning sound. Suddenly, the chest begins to transform before his eyes, its wooden surface warping and twisting into grotesque, withering tendrils. The tendrils lash out at Glaine with alarming speed, attempting to ensnare him and drag him inside the chest's maw. Glaine reacts quickly, swinging his warhammer to fend off the tendrils as they slither toward him. The tendrils respond with fierce intensity, as if they're alive and intelligent. Yes, that's quite the description there. But we've got a mimic, which is actually a pretty terrifying image. Yay, no more mimic. Alright, let's continue to explore the dungeon. Have not found all the rooms yet. Oof, cultists. But we've also got... Ooh, why did I not heal? Bad. Thankfully, these guys aren't too hard. Let's do the brazier first. We might get a different book this time. We will see. Glaine stood before the cold and unlit steel brazier, his eyes fixated on the striking stick attached to a chain that hung from it. The dungeon around him was eerily quiet, save for the occasional drip of water from the damp stone ceiling. He approached the brazier slowly, his hand reaching out to touch the cold metal. As he traced his fingers over the rough surface, he noticed his striking stick out of the corner of his eyes. It dangled from a chain, beckoning him to take it and light the brazier. Glaine hesitated for a moment, unsure if he wanted to draw attention to himself by lighting the fire. But the darkness of the dungeon weighed heavily upon him, and he knew that he needed some light to guide his way. With a determined nod, Glaine grasped the striking stick, and gave it a firm tug, igniting the brazier. Sure, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll ignite the brazier. Uh, bad choice. Bad choice. Yes, I'm cheating and looking at the console logs, so I know what happens. Glenn took a deep breath and struck the striking stick against the brazier. A spark flew, igniting the kindling within the steel brazier, and the brazier roared to life, casting flickering shadows across the room. As Glenn stepped back to admire his work, he suddenly felt a wave of heat washing over him. He stumbled backwards, almost losing his footing as a massive form appeared within the flames. The heat intensified, and Glenn shielded his eyes as a fire elemental emerged from the brazier. Its features were barely discernible amidst the intense heat of the bright flames, but Glenn could sense its menace. The creature towered over him, and its fiery form pulsed with energy. Glenn's heart raced as he realized that he had unwittingly summoned a powerful entity. He knew that he would need all of his skills and might to defeat this foe and continue his journey to rescue the princess. And once again, you can actually see the artwork in all of its full-sized glory. Kudos to Zuko for helping me with this one. Ooh. Oh, I'm right. I'm level 4 now. Drink a potion and keep whittling away. Whew. Hard battle. Oh, I have 2 heals now. Do I get a different book? Do I get a better book? No! RNG is not the sneaker. The RNG is also trolling me today, which is fun. Glenn approaches the simple wooden bookshelf, running his hands on the dusty spines of the various tomes. His fingers pause on an old, tattered book titled Argoth Lights Hope. Yet again. Oh, good times. I'll exchange some SP for HP, and we will open this chest just to see what happens. Yay for another mimic. Oh, RNG loves me today. RNG loves me. At least there's a lot of dead bodies. Maybe I should actually loot here to demonstrate the loot all option, which I'm also not sure I've ever demonstrated on a stream now that I'm thinking about it. Glenn cautiously approached the sturdy chest and inspects it for any traps or locks. Satisfied that it's safe to open, he reaches for the lid and pulls it open. As he does so, the chest suddenly convulses and transforms into a grotesque, fleshy creature with a gaping jaws and writhing tentacles. And it went on to explain the entire battle. Which is something I obviously need to fix. Drink a pot and move on. And just because there's like 5 enemies dead now, I will loot all. Because I can. I'm not sure anything is gonna interesting is actually gonna happen in this dungeon. This seems like a pretty normal dungeon. Glenn approaches the pile of bodies on the floor, his eyes scanning the remains of the defeated enemies. He reached out to the first cultist, taking hold of the body and pulling it closer to him. The cultist's belongings were sparse, but Glenn managed to find a handful of bronze coins in a small pouch attached to the man's belt. He moved on to the second cultist and found a similar amount of bronze coins, though this time he also managed to discover a rare plate helm lying beside the body. Next, Glenn turned the attention to the third cultist, But as he approached, he noticed something strange. The body had been replaced by a small wooden chest. He grew cautious. He cautiously grew. His caution grew as he approached, readying his warhammer. He gave the chest a curious poke with his weapon and was pleased to find that it failed to react. With caution still in his movements, Glane opened the chest to reveal more silver coins than he had seen in some time. So 26, and that's not bad. I got a plate helm too, which I probably should put on because my gear is very underpowered right now. I've got a level 2 helm on. Wow, I probably should sell some of my loot. And we got the book. And south is not going to be anything, so north we go. Hey, it's a lies statue. Which is a good thing. Glane stares intently at the statue of Live, taking in its details. As he looks down at the king's boots, he notices a small symbol carved into the leather. It appears to be a prayer symbol, and Glane wonders what significance it might hold. As he focuses on the symbol, Glane feels a faint tingling sensation inside his fingers, as if some of the magic is emanating from the carving. He can't shake the feeling this symbol is somehow important, but he can't quite put his finger on why. Suddenly a faint whisper seems to fill the room, a soft and gentle voice, but Glane can't make out what it's saying. The voice seems to be coming from the symbol on Lie's boot, but Glane can't be sure. Despite the uncertainty, Glane seems that he has stumbled upon something of importance. It's as if there is a sequence of clues to follow, and the symbol is just the first step. He'll have to keep his eyes peeled for more clues as he continues his way through the dungeon. Brazier's probably a red herring. I say that because doors on every side, and to my west is already a room, so it's not going to open a secret door. So my guess is this is going to be fire elemental. The joys of being the one who developed the game and kind of knows at least the realm of what's possible. Yep, fire elemental. Glane approaches the unlit steel brazier, contemplating whether he should light it or not. However, his curiosity gets the better of him as he decides to give it a try. With a quick wave of his hand, Glane ignites the brazier, and it roars to life with fire in a sudden burst of flame. As the flames grow higher and higher, and a sudden gust of wind whips through the room. As the brazier takes on a life of its own, suddenly before him stands a fire elemental, its eyes blazing with fury at being summoned by an outsider. Yes. Everything is possible. That's 230. That's the better move. Oof. This fire elemental hits hard. I might lose. Fire elementals are the new rays. He's got me. He's got me. I should have left the brazier alone. Can't believe how hard he hits. Maybe I should look through my gear to see if there's anything that's higher level. So that's a level 2. That's a level 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. And the rest are just potions. So I need to find better loots. As Glaine descended deeper into the cultist's dungeon, he suddenly found himself face to face with a towering fire elemental. Despite his skills in combat and his powerful abilities as an earth wizard and light wielder, Glaine was no match for the elemental's intense flames. The creature moved with a fluid grace that belied its immense size, and within moments Glaze was overwhelmed by its fiery attacks. As he fell to the ground, the elemental seemed to grow even larger and more powerful, consuming Glaine in an inferno of flames until his body was nothing but ash upon the dungeon floor. As Glaine's vision faded to black, he felt his consciousness slipping away. His body was consumed by the intense heat of the fire elemental's flames, and he knew that this was the end. His thoughts turned to his queen and the princess he had sworn to rescue. He felt a pang of regret that he would not be able to fulfill his duty. However, as his mind finally went blank, something strange began to happen. Glaine felt himself being pulled back through the darkness, and suddenly he was standing once again at the entrance of the cultist dungeon. He looked down at himself and saw that he was whole once more, as if he had never died at all. Confused but grateful for another chance, Glaine took a deep breath and steeled himself for the challenges that lay ahead. He knew that every step deeper into the dungeon could be his last, but for now he knew he had a job to do, and with a renewed sense, he continued his quest to save Princess Amelia. And here's the fire elements again. Try to. Drink pot and try to finish him off. I am starting to I think I'm starting to see why you're struggling a little bit as a water light. This is water earth, and I'm just not doing a whole lot of damage. Just coin. I think the lower level skills there might not be up to snuff. But I'll have to give that a look. Okay, so right now we just need Proloth. Hey, speaking of Proloth, we just found Proloth. Light might need a buff, or water, or it's more of a question of you really need a good weapon. Because I think right now my weapon is not so great. My weapon is level 2 and I'm level 4, so it's dealing like half the damage it should be. It's at 15 DPS and it should be at 30. Glaine's gaze was at the... Glaine... cannot speak tonight. Glaine gazes at the statue of Proloth with a sense of unease. The dark hooded figure seems to almost loom over him as he can't quite shake the feeling as being watched. As he looks closer, he notices something carved into the folds of the robe, a prayer symbol that seems to glow faintly in the dim light of the dungeon. Suddenly a memory flashes through Glaine's mind. The statue of Argoth with his own prayer symbol, and Lai's statue with another. It's as though the puzzle pieces had clicked into place, and he realizes that this is the final piece of the sequence. But what does it mean? Glaine can't shake the feeling that there's something important about these statues and the symbols, something that could help him on his quest. And we've got a portcullis, which is probably going to be 2 levers. We will see. Zuko, is your legendary weapon level appropriate? Glaine stares at the large oak lever, his mind racing with thoughts of what it could do. He notices intricate carvings etched into the wood depicting the slaying of a serpent by a group of warriors. As he looks closer, he sees that the serpent has a particular symbol on his head, the same symbol that he saw in the statue of Proloth. His heart skips a beat as he realizes this might be a key to unlocking the portcullis and proceeding deeper into the dungeon. He takes a deep breath, steeling himself for whatever lay ahead. One level behind matters way more significantly at the lower levels than at higher levels. Like, I'm only level 4, and the fact that my weapon's a level 2 means it's half as good as it should be right now. Glaine's gaze lingers on the first large oak lever in the room. His mind, well, that's all I need to know. You're the first one. The lever stands tall, imposing in its rough-hewn surface marred by deep grooves and swatches that speak of frequent use. As Glane scrutinizes it, he notices a faint symbol etched into the wood near the base of the lever. A twisted serpent with a gaping maw. He feels a shiver run down his spine at the sight of it. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. This is... Glane's fingers crawl around the rough-hewn surface of the large oak lever as he feels a twinge of apprehension. He takes a deep breath and steadies himself as he pulls the lever, feeling it give way easily beneath his strength. A faint rumbling echoes through the room as the portcullis on the north wall begins to ascend slowly. But it didn't. It's still there. But yeah, I should probably visit the shops and get myself a better weapon, and things might be easier then. Maybe. With a determined look on his face, Glane pulls the large oak lever towards him. The lever moves surprisingly easily with only a soft creaking sound as it shifts. A moment later, a deep clanking sound echoes through the room and the metal grinds against metal. Glane turns to see that the porthole is slowly rising, revealing a dark passageway beyond. The air in the room feels heavy with anticipation as he takes a step forward, his warhammer at the ready. He knows that the cultist Amir will not be pleased with his intrusion, but he's determined to rescue the princess. Yes. I am determined to rescue the princess. We got another mirror. And we've got 2 chests and a wraith. And I think what one of my problems is I think I've got a bunch of points to assign that I haven't assigned yet. Yeah, 13 points. Let's go into wisdom. And to perform. So that was one of my problems. And I can exchange SP for health. I'm going to ignore the chests. Hey, cultists. What are you guys doing here? Well, I think this was a bad decision. Yep, cultists got me. That's death number 2 today. Good old Glane. That's a lot of dots, too. I think it's more I had 5 dots on me. Dots tick hard. Dots tick hard. As Glane made his way through the dungeon, he was ambushed by 2 cultists of Mir. Despite his valiant efforts, his inexperience proved to be his downfall. The cultists proved to be too strong for him, and one of them managed to land a fatal blow with their dagger. Glane fell to the ground, his life slipping away as he watched the cultists take the princess deeper into the dungeon. The darkness closed in around him, and he took his last breath, never to see the light of day again. However, all was not lost for Glane. As he lay there motionless on the ground, a soft glow surrounded him, and he felt his body being lifted up. When he opened his eyes again, he felt himself back at the start of the dungeon, with his full health and mana restored. Confused but grateful for another chance to rescue the princess, Glane set off once again. Yes. Glane is having a hard time of it. And there was nothing that way. There's one cultist. Just not doing any damage. I have to make sure that... Now, that brazier could be something. Maybe. Or it could just be a trap. Could just be a trap. Glazed eyes fixated on the unlit steel brazier. The metal surface was cold and untouched, devoid of any signs of recent use. But his gaze lingered. A glint caught his eye. He leaned in closer and saw the striking stick attached to a chain hanging from the brazier. The stick looked well used and with scorch marks and chipped edges. Glane couldn't help but wonder what purpose it served in this dark and foreboding dungeon. Was it meant to light the brazier for some unknown ritual, or perhaps it was simply a tool used to start fires? Whatever its intended use, Glane knew that he needed to keep it close at hand. With a quick motion, he grabbed the chain and pulled the striking stick free from the brazier, tucking it away in his pack for safekeeping. Yeah, that's the idea. I think I'm going to leave it. Let's just continue to explore the dungeon. Hey, there's our locked door. We can rescue the princess. Although I need to remember to drink a potion. Unless I'm going to die to the Shadowhounds. Oof. Whew. This game is too hard. Who wrote this thing? Who wrote this game and made it so hard? Maybe I should play at lower levels more often. Glane stands before the three ornate silver doors, his eyes fixed on each one of them in turn. His gaze lingers upon the door in the center, the one with the word "Lithe" etched into it above. He studied the prayer symbols etched into the silver surface, trying to discern its meaning. Moreover, moving on his gaze to the door on the left, marked with the words Argoth. The prayer symbol here is different from the first, and Glane wonders what significance it might hold. Finally, he turns his attention to the door on the right, labeled Proloth. The prayer symbol etched into this door is more intricate than the others, and Glane finds himself studying it closely in an effort to understand its hidden meaning. As he stands there before the locked door, Glane can feel a sense of foreboding stirring within him, as if something ominous lurks just beyond these silver surfaces. And I think everyone knows this puzzle by now. It's Lithe, Argoth, Proloth. And in this case, take the buff that you get from touching the prayer stone to the proper prayer stone. And that's Lithe 2 down. There is Lithe. Although prior to the level update, this would have always been the two fountains and the altar. In this case, it gave me all three statues. So that is a little bit different, but at the core, the puzzle still remains the same. Glane focuses all his energy on the symbol carved into the statue of Lithe's boot. He begins to recite an incantation he learned while studying light wielder magic. The words feel foreign on his lips, but he's content. Apparently, the English is is foreign to me right now, too. But as he continues to speak, he feels an almost imperceptible shift in the air around him. Suddenly, a golden light begins to emanate from Lai's statue. It spreads throughout the room, casting a warm and comforting glow. The light seems to be infused with an almost palpable sense of power. As Glenn continues to chant, the light grows brighter and brighter, as if the statue is coming to life before his very eyes. And then, just as suddenly as it began, the light fades away, leaving Glenn feeling invigorated and powerful. He knows that he's tapping into something special with the lithe enchantment. Whatever lies ahead in this dungeon, he feels ready to face it head on. And with the power of lithe on his side, he knows he can't be stopped. Except when you dive to some more shadowhounds. Or cultists. Or anything else that moves. Touch Argoth. Glenn's curiosity peaked as he turned his gaze to the door labeled Argoth. He touches the prayer symbol etched into the silver surface. Instantly, a warm, calming sensation spreads through his hand, and he feels the soft glow emanating from his fingertips. The pain he felt from touching the previous door is replaced with a sense of comfort and healing. He watches in wonder as the small cut on his hand, which he had sustained early in his journey, began to close and heal before his eyes. Glenn wonders if this is a sign that he is meant to follow this path and offer himself up to the deity represented by the door. He searches the room for some place to make an offering, but finds nothing that seems appropriate. With a sense of purpose, Glenn turns his attention back to the doors, wondering what else they might reveal. And now I need Argoth, which is down into the west. There's Lithe, and here will be Argoth. Do 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 do. Glenn approaches the statue of Argoth and focuses his magic on the symbol carved into the priest's hands. He whispers a prayer to Argoth and channels his energy into the enchantment. As he does so, Glenn feels a warmth spreading through his body as he becomes aware of a new power within him. It's as though he has been granted a gift from the humble and kind priest, a blessing to aid him in his quest. The symbol on the statue begins to glow with a brilliant light, filling the room with a warm golden aura. Glenn smiles, feeling a sense of peace and serenity wash over him. He knows that he has made the right choice in seeking out the blessing of Argoth. With renewed vigor, Glenn sets out to continue his journey through the dungeon, confident that with Argoth's blessing he can overcome any obstacles that lie within his path. We shall see, my friend, we shall see. Because now we have to touch Proloth. With a sense of trepidation, Glenn reaches out to touch the prayer symbol etched onto the door labeled Proloth. As his fingers make contact with the silver surface, he feels a sudden chill run down his hand, and he watches in horror as his skin begins to turn black, spreading outward from the point of contact. Though he feels no pain, Glenn is filled with a sense of malice and dread. He pulls his hand back, quickly shaking it to try to dispel the dark energy that seems to be clinging to it. Unsure of what to do, he scans the room for a place to make an offering, or perhaps a way to cleanse himself of the dark magic that now taints him. As he searches, he can't help but wonder what kind of deity would demand such a price from its followers. And I need to go to Proloth, which is down to and to the east. There, and there is Proloth. Glaine takes a deep breath and focuses all his magic on the statue of Proloth. Tracing the prayer symbol with his fingers and speaking the incantation under his breath, the enchantment is accepted with a faint shimmer, and suddenly the statue's robes change from dark to sterling silver. The effect is instantaneous, and Glaine can feel the power of the enchantment pulsing through the dungeon. A low rumble echoes through the walls, as though something deep within the earth has been disturbed. An oppressive feeling permeates the air, and Glaine can't shake the sense that something dangerous is lurking just beyond his vision. He knows he needs to proceed with caution. Whatever he's set in motion by enchanting the statue of Proloth, it's clear that he's made a significant impact on the dungeon and its inhabitants. With a sense of determination, he readies his warhammer and heads towards the heavy steel portcullis, ready for whatever lays ahead. I'm not heading to the portcullis, but it's nice to know that you know about it, AI. Because this door is open right now. And there is the cult's leader. And if you want to see him up close, he is probably not somebody you want to meet in a dark alley. Ah, Glaine. The name sounds familiar, but I cannot quite place it. What leads you to our sect of the cultists of Mir? I'm here for the princess. Hand her over, and no blood needs to be shed. I'm afraid I cannot allow that, Glaine. Sacrificing the princess is crucial to the success of our ritual to bring rain to and save the kingdom. Surely you understand that one life is worth sacrificing for the greater good. Your words are meaningless. Your sacrifice will not bring the rain. I'm just trying to incite violence. On the contrary, Glaine, our sacrifices have brought rain to this kingdom for centuries. It is a proven fact that the shedding of blood appeases Mir and brings her favor upon us. Are you willing to risk the lives of countless people by stopping us now? Yes. Yes, I am. Your stubbornness is disappointing, Glaine. You clearly do not understand the ways of Mir and the importance of the sacrifice for the greater good. I cannot allow you to interfere. Guards, detain this intruder. Good luck with that, mister. Can I beat the cult's leader? He's winning right now, but I've got a pot. Haha. Yay for pots. And I'm going to loot you because I need to loot. And now escaping this dungeon is not going to be fun. Not going to be fun at all. Glaine approached the dead cult leader with caution. He knew that danger could be lurking around every corner in this dark and sinister dungeon. He knelt down beside the lifeless body and began searching for anything valuable that he could take on his quest. As he rummaged through the cult leader's belongings, his eyes fell upon a gleaming piece of armor. It was a rare plate chest piece and intricately crafted and adorned with precious gemstones. Glaine's heart skipped a beat as he realized the value in this item. Without hesitation, he carefully removed the chest piece from the cult leader's body and examined it closely. It was in pristine condition, and Glaine knew that would provide him with protection he needed to face whatever dangers lay ahead. Satisfied with his loot, Glaine quickly pocketed the chest piece and prepared to continue his journey through the treacherous dungeon. And maybe there'll be something nice in this chest. I need loot. Glenn approached the gilded metal chest with caution. He inspected it for any traps or mechanism before finally deciding to open it. With a loud creak of the lid, the chest slowly opened, revealing its contents inside. Glenn finds a rare plate helm and a rare dagger. He examines them closely, admiring their intricate design. Satisfied with his newfound loot, Glenn carefully stows them away in his backpack and continues his quest to rescue the princess. Yes, good idea, Glenn. And how about some heals? And now we will rescue the princess. Because I can. As Glenn undoes the bounds of the altar, he feels a sense of relief wash over him as Princess Amelia stands up, rubbing her sore wrists. He takes her hand and starts leading her towards the three ornate silver doors, set in stone archways of interlaced serpents on the south wall. However, before they can take more than a few steps, the altar suddenly emits a deafening alarm, shouting out the presence of intruders within the dungeon. Glenn crisply grasps his free hand. Glenn quickly clasps his free hand over Amelia's mouth, his eyes scanning the room for any signs of danger. He knows that they must leave this room quickly before the cultists arrive to investigate. With a determined expression, he pulls Amelia behind him and inches towards the door, ready to face whatever challenges await them on their journey out of this cursed place. Yep, and we get to deal with archers on our way out. That's gonna be fun. Do 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 do. And I will wait to get my potions back off cooldown and make a oof. Why? Ugh, and they trapped me. I want to move here, but you trapped me again. Potion. I didn't actually get you. And I think I need to play through all of the characters at low level just to see if they can actually win and make it through. So I think we got some that are underpowered right now. Either that or the new wave of all the alpha testers that are coming can let me know if things are too difficult. Did I kill you? Yes, you're gone. And you're now gone. Yay, victory. And down 2 more. Why is this one hitting so hard? Jeez. Whew. Pot. Wait again. That one archer was hitting like a truck. So is this one. Man. How is he able to almost kill me before I'm able to even hurt him? And there's the third death of this dungeon. Yay! A couple of those archers were hitting really hard. Really, really hard. really, really hard. But that's okay, because the princess will be here waiting for me. Glain, as Glain and the Princess Amelia were making their escape, they were ambushed by an archer in the dimly lit corridor of the dungeon. Glain valiantly tried to defend himself with his rare warhammer and magical nothing, but the archer proved to be too skillful and agile for the inexperienced adventurer. With a swift motion, the archer landed a fatal blow on Glain, leaving him lifeless on the ground. Princess Amelia screamed in horror as she realized the gravity of the situation and was forced to flee the dungeon alone. The cultists of Mir would no doubt use Glain's death as a sacrifice to further appease their goddess. As Glain lay on the cold stone floor, his lifeless body surrounded by the darkness of the dungeon, he felt his consciousness slip away. He thought of Princess Emilia and how he had failed her. Suddenly he felt a strange sensation taking him over him. It's as if a warm light enveloped him. He saw visions of the goddess Mir and felt her power coursing through his veins. When Glain opened his eyes, he was no longer in the dungeon. Instead, he found himself standing at the entrance, fully healed and ready to face the challenges awaiting him once again. He knew that he had died. He knew that he had died and been brought back to life by the power of the cultists, by the power of the goddess Mir. With renewed determination, Glain made his way back to the depths of the dungeon. He knew that he had to rescue the princess, but the princess is standing right here. So we will talk to her, and let's see if I can actually convince her to come with me. Glain, I don't know you. Why are you here? I'm here to rescue you, Princess Amelia. Rescue me, but the sacrifice is necessary to bring rain to our kingdom. I am so torn. Did the cult leader poison your mind? Poison your mind. There is no need for you to be sacrificed. There is no greater good to be served in your death. You are much more valuable to your people alive. Whew, that was a long message. And the AI is really thinking about the answer too. As Glain emerged from the dark, cold dungeon, he held Princess Amelia in his arms tightly. The first rays of dawn were beginning to lighten the sky. Amelia's face was streaked with tears, but she wore a small smile, and whispered her thanks to the young adventurer. Glain was exhausted, but he had never felt so alive. The weight of the warhammer in his hand felt reassuring. He had used it to smash the cultists' altar and put an end to their vile plans. As he carried Amelia into the crisp mountain air, Glain paused to look back at the fortress. Smoke rose from the ruins of the once terrifying Temple of Mir. He had faced unimaginable horrors, but he had emerged victorious. Suddenly, a deafening roar filled the air. Glain looked up to see a massive dragon descending from the mountain's peak. For a moment, he thought he was about to die, but as the dragon landed, he realized that it was not there to harm him. The dragon bowed his head, and Glain could hear his voice in his mind. "You have done well, young adventurer. You have saved this land from darkness and destruction." As Glain looked on in awe, as the dragon lifted off into the sky and disappeared from view, Glain knew that he would never forget this moment. His victory in the cultists of Mir's dungeon had given him confidence and strength that he would carry with him for the rest of his days as an adventurer. Wow, I even got to meet a dragon. So we can exit the dungeon. And I can show that collectibles, we got just the one book. which isn't that great, but not terrible. And then the bestiary, I killed 11 archers, 1 crazed cultist, 1 cult leader, 5 cultists, 2 fire elementals, 2 mimics, 10 shadowhounds, and 2 race. So I have 10 shadowhound tails on my way to 1,000, which is fun. But yeah, so it kept track of all those stats. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice. For people that missed the start of the stream, yeah, I can't. I'd have to restart the server. Okay, that won't be a problem on the deployed version. My AWS credentials have expired, so I can't actually access S3, which is where the images are stored. Anyway, that'll wrap it up unless there's some questions. I'll post in Discord when I deploy the alpha, the open alpha, or the closed alpha. That's available to everyone, not just patrons. So look for that tomorrow at some point. And thanks for coming out, everyone. I'll sit around for questions for a little bit in case people have them. All right, guess there's no questions, so look forward to everyone coming out and being able to test and give feedback. Like I said, look for the post at some point tomorrow. Like I said, it's probably going to be around 3 Pacific time. Catch you guys in a week for the patrons, and catch you guys in 2 weeks for everyone else.